Hello and welcome to Young Money. I'm Nozi Pombanjwa. As you can see, we're coming to you from the Sandton skyline. And as always, we're bringing you some brilliant stories of Africa's young entrepreneurs. Coming up is Trevor Gosling. He is the founder and the CEO of Lulalend. And Lulalend is solving one of the most pressing problems that young entrepreneurs have, and that is making sure that their ideas get funded. In the second half of the show, we actually bring you some of the voices of the entrepreneurs that Lulalend has actually funded. Do stay tuned.
My name is Trevor Gosling and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Lulalend. I've always been pretty entrepreneurial. But I actually started out with a corporate background. I went the chartered accounting route and did my articles, and then actually spent the next 5 years in investment banking. But I come from a pretty entrepreneurial family, and all owning their own businesses. And at that time when I was in investment banking, my brother founded what became Groupon South Africa locally, along with his business partner. And I just saw the aggressive growth in there, especially in the digital space in South Africa. I realized it was in its infancy. And that really prompted me to then get out of investment banking and explore the digital world and launch my first business. So the first business was in the e-commerce space, where we focused on flash selling fine wines, gourmet food, craft beers, related accessories and that sort of thing. And within 2 years, it became one of the fastest growing e-commerce companies in South Africa. And then fortunately, Nathi came knocking on the door, and they were looking to bring us into their group. So I actually was fortunate enough after just over 2 years to exit the business to Nathi. Towards the end of my time with Nathi, I wanted to get back into financial services. That's where I spent my corporate career. And at the same time, I wanted to use the technology that or the understanding of the digital environment that I'd learned through my time in e-commerce. So when I put those two together, I got into a subject called fintech, financial technology, which was really taking off in the world, but was still in its early days in South Africa. And as I was looking at what fintech models were really being successful, the one that really stuck out to me that was really needed in South Africa was using technology to provide quick and easy access to finance for SMEs. So I saw, at that point, I saw a crazy stat that almost 90% of SMEs were unable to access funding through traditional institutions. And I thought this is a huge problem that needs to be solved, and that's what got me down the road of building Lulalend. Yeah, so if you look at small businesses, they haven't been well supported traditionally by traditional institutions and your banks. And the reason for that is because banks originally aren't set up to be able to fund SMEs. It's a very risky space, and just the way that banks are set up with their network infrastructure and the operational costs involved, it doesn't make a lot of financial sense for them to be able to provide funding with smaller loan amounts to businesses. So the only way you can really solve that issue is through technology and through automation, to be able to drive down the cost of funding and to be able to scale your business model. So we've essentially focused on those elements, the ability to automate our process, to risk a client, and to be able to provide them funding utilizing technology. Look, it's getting easier. So I mean, in the early days, it was really difficult. We were obviously very new to the space, and this was the first time our technology was being tested. You know, when we went live and we started giving out the first set of loans to customers, and not knowing what the performance of those would be. But through the ability that we have through our technology, we were able to constantly improve on our analysis of companies, and so always better, provide more accurate and better funding to businesses. At the same time, as we've developed a bit of a track record, that's given investors a bit more confidence in us and as a business, and then they've subsequently provided us with additional capital so that we can continue to grow and scale. I think something that small businesses need to consider is to have good administration of their business. So, you know, just a fairly comprehensive sort of accounting records that just gives a good indication of where they are in that point of time. So it might feel like, you know, a lot of entrepreneurs are more marketing and sales focused, and that's where they're pushing. But it is still important to keep that admin up, because that not only helps a business owner understand exactly, you know, where their business is at that point in time, but it helps with them looking to raise additional funding to grow their business. Look, in terms of cryptocurrency and what it's going to do to Lulalend in the short term, or actually in the medium term, I don't think it's going to have a massive impact. It is something that we always keep an eye on, and we're excited about what the blockchain technology is going to do. But I think that's more of a long-term play for us. This is something that's affecting more treasuries sectors of traditional institutions. So in terms of our business model at this moment in time, we don't see it having too much of an impact. Over the next 3 to 5 years, we're looking to scale and grow in South Africa quite aggressively. We know there's a lot of SMEs in South Africa who need access to funding, and we believe we're solving a big solution there, and there is a big market there that we can scale up to. Thereafter, we're looking at other emerging markets that have a similar setup to South Africa that we believe we can launch our platform into, and also assist SMEs in those areas. So because we're utilizing technology and we're assessing companies in a different way to your banks and traditional institutions, we really understand the true business health of a company that's looking for funding through us. So one of the examples is a company by the name of IMAS, who are in the educational space, who were turned down by a bank, but through our technology we were able to assess this company and see there were strong, compelling reasons that they should receive funding. So in a very short turnaround time, we were able to provide them with access to funding, and subsequent to that, we've been able to provide higher amounts of funding at a more cost-effective rate as they've built a relationship with Lulalend. And that's given them the ability to expand from day one, when they were at 13 learners, to currently they're looking to pursue 1,000 learners in 2018. So IMAS first applied to us in 2015. So it was actually in the infancy of Lulalend being completely active, and they've been with us over the past 2 years. Exactly, that's the exciting thing. So having come from a similar background, that we are startups, we understand early stage companies because we are ourselves one. And that's what we like to see. We want to invest in companies that are growing. We're not looking to put loans into businesses that are going to be detriment to the business owner, that they're going to struggle to repay the debt. We want to put funding into companies that's giving them the ability to scale their operations, employ more people, and doing great things like IMAS, which is giving professional education to more and more students.
There you have it. That is Trevor Gosling sharing with us his insights around the business Lulalend. Let's take a short break, but when we come back, let's put Trevor's words to the test, and let's speak to some of the young entrepreneurs that Lulalend has actually funded. Welcome back to Young Money. If you've just joined us, this is an episode about one of the biggest headaches that young entrepreneurs are constantly facing, and that is matching their ideas to funding. Now, in the first half of the show, we were speaking to Trevor Gosling, who was sharing with us how his business speaks to this challenge directly. But we want to put Trevor's insights to the test, and so we are now moving into a conversation with one of the entrepreneurs that Lulalend has actually funded. And so we're speaking to Nathi, who is the founder and CEO of IMAS, and that is the Institute for Management Accounting Strategy. And we find out how IMAS and Lulalend have made ideas turn into real dreams. And later on into the show, as we wrap up this conversation, we go to Monash University, where we meet some of the young social entrepreneurs who are part of a fellowship program there that is really enabling social entrepreneurship on the African continent. Do stay tuned.
My name is Nathi, Thela, the founder and the CEO of the Institute of Management, Accounting and Strategy. Lulalend is a company that we met in 2015 when my company was still at its infant stage and we're desperately looking for funding. We had knocked in many doors and been turned down. Luckily enough, when we approached Lulalend, they were very open to the idea of assisting us with funding.
Can you tell us a bit more about your company?
My company is in the education space. We are a professional accountancy training institute, therefore helping people who aspire to become chartered management accountants or chartered certified accountants. Therefore, we attract a number of graduates who already hold an undergraduate qualification, and these they aspire then to hold a professional accountancy qualification. That's how then we attract students and then we train them over a period of time.
Well, again, being a technology-based company, we looked more at the data points around the business that gave us comfort that this was a healthy business, that they were growing in the right direction, and that all those factors together encouraged us that we would provide funding to them. So one of the main things we make sure we don't do is be subjective about our decisions. It's trying to be as objective as possible, and that's what a system does. It gives you the ability to be completely objective. So when IMAS applied for funding, they ticked all the boxes in terms of the business health, the affordability around it, the strong credit scores, and we were able to assist them through that.
Yes, since we started working with Lulalend in 2015, it's been 2 years now, and every time the business needs to grow, whether be it we're setting up a new branch in Durban or in Pretoria, we know that in Lulalend we have a trusted partner that we can engage with and share our vision. And what I love the most about it is the fact that they have a quick turnaround in terms of their processes. Unlike many DFIs that we have in South Africa who can take as long as 4 months or 6 months before they come up with an answer. With Lulalend, you engage them today, by the afternoon you already have an answer, and that's what makes them a great organization to work with. You know, Braamfontein is the heart of education in Gauteng. You've got vets, you've got a number of colleges that are operating in the Braamfontein area. Therefore, we felt that we want to be at the heart of where education is taking place in Gauteng. That is why we are located in Braamfontein. For us, we've been leveraging on social media because many young people, you know, they're constantly on their phones. Therefore, now we're leveraging on social media to actually speak to the potential students. That's how we market our business.
So Lulalend is based online, so that means we can do business with companies sitting anywhere in South Africa. We're actually based in Cape Town ourselves, but the fact that IMAS are based in Braamfontein and they didn't have to come and visit a branch, they could do the whole application process online, and we never actually had to meet face to face. Just shows where the business world is going. The online world is an exciting space, and it's time saving and it's improving the lives of people who utilize it.
Most definitely. If we look at the number of students that we currently have as an institution, they've grown. And the reason why, actually, we've grown from having 7 students in 2013 to having 616 students in 2017. And our next target now is to have 1,000 students in 2018. And all thanks to social media, you know, and digital platform like your Google AdWords that we've used over the years. Therefore, we're very excited, and we see lots of opportunities as well to grow our business into the digital space. We recently launched our education app, which is targeting students that are studying towards CIMA across the African continent, because we want to bring in education closer to people and broaden access to high quality education to the rest of the African continent. We developed the app with the help of a number of guys who are based overseas actually.
Yeah, I mean, there's multiple business people that I look up to, the likes of Steve Jobs and what they've done, and then Elon Musk, a current one, you know, a South African-born man who's doing amazing things and not just improving lives, but basically changing the world that we currently live in. That's exciting, and that's what made me want to be an entrepreneur, and makes me want to be an entrepreneur. It's building new, cool things that benefits people and improves lives. That's what I take home from that.
Yes, South Africa is blessed with a lot of entrepreneurs. You know, the one that comes to mind that I always read about is Adrian Gore, the founder of Discovery. He inspires me a lot. Mark Zuckerberg is another guy whom I've actually read a lot about, and I follow him very closely. He's my source of inspiration. In South Africa, we have a lot of people who have made money via tenders, and therefore a lot of people then, when you mention that you're an entrepreneur, they expect you to rock up in a fancy car, to be staying in a fancy house, not understanding that actually it takes time to build a real business.
Yeah, that's huge. I think entrepreneurship is glamorized in the media and in the movies, and what local South Africans see happening in Silicon Valley, where in reality it's hard work. It's a job that basically never ends. You know, if you're in a corporate, it's generally 8 to 5, but when you're in the entrepreneurial space, it's a job that never sleeps, basically. So guys don't realize when they're stepping into this world, it is a lot of challenges. It's super rewarding, but there's a lot of hard work involved.
And that's true. I remember my first 3 years of running IMAS. I actually worked for almost 16 hours a day, you know, and at some point I regretted why I actually jumped into this bandwagon. I thought I was better off in the private in the private sector, where I was in banking as well. But entrepreneurship is all about hard work. For me, I've been blessed that my wife works with me. Therefore, we tend to see each other almost every second. Therefore, that helps. But other than that, I have a young boy. I make sure that when I'm at home, I switch off my phone and all the attention goes to my son, because I don't see him that often and as much as I'd like to see him. If when I'm at home, he's like daddy's boy. He's all over me, and I love that moment. You know what I mean? On weekends, whenever I get the opportunity to be at home as well, I do something similar. We go to church. After church, it's just me and my boy, and that's it.
Yeah, spot on. I think look, you got to make some sacrifices. You can't be hanging out with friends as often as you could in the past. But at the end of the day, as Mr. Thela says, you got to use the time that you do have free wisely, and dedicating that to family and making most of that. So I would say cutting out TV, cutting out too much time on social media that's not adding too much value.
For me, you've got to do your homework very well. You've got to understand the industry that you are in. You've got to understand who you're competing with. You've got to understand your key success factors, you know what I mean, so that you can actually eliminate certain mistakes that other people have committed. You've got to read a lot. And what I really like right now is the whole concept of a lean startup, to say you've got to start slow, and your idea doesn't have to be perfect. You know, you'll refine it along the way, because many entrepreneurs, they wait until their idea is perfect before they launch the business. As soon as you have an idea, test it around a few people and launch it to the market, and then you'll refine it as you go along. Don't wait to have a perfect idea.
Yeah, so off the back of that, so it's really getting a product out there as soon as possible, One that, of course, you're happy with, but isn't perfect. Because when you start getting customer feedback and engagement, that's what you know. That's when you know what improvements you need to make. Otherwise, you're developing based on what's based in your head, which isn't always the market perception or what the market's looking for. There's another thing I wanted to bring up. Oh, and then it's really making use of digital tools. There's so many cool applications out there that can speed up processes. I mean, back in the day, you'd have to spend days putting your accounts together and that sort of thing. This can be done automatically through online accounting apps that are available to entrepreneurs. And that's just a small taste of it. There's a lot of digital applications that people can use in their business to be able to have a good picture of it, if it's on the analytics side for your marketing or wherever.
Thusanang Community Engagement Program. Well, Thusanang Community Engagement Program is a program that aims to collaborate education and entertainment together for young learners in vulnerable communities. We do this by making sure that every child gets the opportunity to showcase their talent to the community, and also to make sure that their families also see how great they are in their unique talents.
Let's Grow Together is an e-commerce website that specializes in the sale and delivery of fresh fruit and vegetables to the university populace. This is done to create employment opportunities for students from low-income generating households. The future of Let's Grow Together is a bright future. We envision spreading Let's Grow Together to other university campuses to assist with the various challenges exposed during the Feesmas Fall movement.
I am the creator of Girl Power South Africa, and what that is a platform for girls to find their voice so that they are able to stand up for themselves and other people that may not be able to. I came across this briefly last year when I went through a phase in my life that affected me negatively, and I thought, you know, if I can go through this, many other girls can go through this as well. And even though some problems may not just be emotional, like self-esteem and confidence, other things are very economical, like lack of textbooks and lack of guidance in schools and homes. And because of this, you have girls that feel as though they don't have a future and they don't dream because they think that they cannot reach that. So with South Africa, we work with girls ages 10 to 24 to say, hey, you can do this, you do have a future, and we help them through various events, camps, and anything we can to just let them know that they do have a future, they can dream, and they can reach that dream.
It's been an absolutely fantastic show. Thank you so much for making the time to join us. And remember, as we head into the new year and 2018, if you want the Young Money team to come to you, it's really, really simple. All you need to do is follow me. It's at The Real Nosy or at CNBC Africa. Our hashtag is Young Money 410. I look forward to another bumper year of stories about young African entrepreneurs.